Welcome to Top X Coins. Did you know that tiny mistakes at the US Mint have created some of the most valuable and rare Lincoln pennies in history? In this video, we're counting down the top 7 most rare Lincoln penny era varieties, coins that collectors go crazy for, with values reaching thousands to millions of dollars. From dramatic double dies to rare off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and die breaks, these aren't your ordinary wheat or memorial cents. This is the legendary 1964 SMS Lincoln Penny, one of the most puzzling and sought-after coins in American numismatic history, a coin that shouldn't even exist. And yet, it does. A coin that even the US Mint never publicly acknowledged, yet it slipped into the hands of a few extremely lucky collectors. Let's travel back to 1964. This was a year of transition and turmoil at the US Mint. The United States was facing a coin shortage, mainly due to the rising value of silver. In an effort to prevent hoarding, the Mint began pulling back on proof set production and started considering a different format, what would later become known as Special Mint Sets, SMS. Normally, SMS coins are produced in years when the Mint doesn't release proof sets, like 1965, 1966, and 1967. So it would make sense for those years to have SMS coins. But 1964 was not one of them, which is why the existence of any 1964 SMS Lincoln Penny is completely unexplainable according to official records. So how do you tell the difference between a regular 1964 penny, which is extremely common, and the ultra-rare 1964 SMS penny worth up to $200,000? Here are the key diagnostics that expert graders use. SMS coins have a distinctive smooth satin finish, different from the typical proof or circulation strike. Letters, Lincoln's hair, and Lincoln's coat show crisp, well-defined edges. SMS coins display squared rims, not rounded or softly struck like circulation cents. Because they were struck under controlled conditions, they have very few or no bag marks. They look nearly flawless. The dies used appear to have been specially prepared. Some 1964 SMS cents show unusual die polish lines. If your coin has all these signs, it's time to stop what you're doing and get it certified, because it might just change your life. You've heard about the mystery, you've heard about the rarity, but now let's talk about value. The few 1964 SMS Lincoln pennies that have surfaced on the market have brought absolutely staggering prices. In 2005, one example graded SP68 by PCGS sold for $48,000. In later years, another sold for $86,000 at public auction. By 2021, a specimen reached nearly $100,000 in private sale. Experts now believe that the finest known example could fetch $150,000 to $200,000 in the right market conditions. Think about it, this is a penny, 1 cent. And it could buy you a house, a Tesla, or pay for a college education. And it's not just about the metal, it's about the story, the rarity, and the secretive history behind it. Because behind that unassuming date of 1982D, there's a hidden small DAT copper penny so rare, so shocking, it's become the modern numismatic holy grail. Today, we're uncovering its secret, how it happened, how to spot it, and why collectors are losing sleep for this penny. Stay with me, your coin jar could be hiding a fortune. Let's rewind. It's 1982, copper prices are skyrocketing, past 1982's face value threshold. The US Mint must pivot. Enter the controversial composition switch. Until 1982, solid bronze, 95% copper, pennies, weighing 3.11 g. After, copper-plated zinc, weighing just 2.5 g. During this shift, both large date and small date designs were struck. But, brace yourself, a few Denver D Mint pennies struck on the old bronze planchette slipped through. These are called 1982D small date copper pennies, the holy grail of modern US cents. Gemstone. What makes the 1982D small date so legendary, though congruent with earlier bronze pennies, this Denver piece bears 1982's date, making it an obvious error. Only a couple are publicly known, so elusive they're almost mythical. CoinValueChecker.com. In August 2017, I discovered a U58 1982D small date copper cent sold at Stacksbowers for $18,800. Then in 2019, a second specimen surfaced, also a U58, fueling rumors of even higher offers, and whispers online say a stunning, high-grade copper 1982D small date might be fetching $398,000, though that sale is unofficial and unverified. This is not mere hyperbole, it's a coin so rare it could redefine what pocket change is worth. So how much is this coin really worth? Let's dive in. First known sale, 2017 $18,800 U58, second sale, 2019 similar grade fetched around $18,000 again. Social media whispers, a high-grade example rumored at $398,000, collectors worldwide expect values between $80,000 to $150,000, and if a top-graded MS65 Plus surfaces, $200,000 plus is more than possible. Why the hype? Ultra rare, only 2 to 3 known specimens. Goldmine condition, one in pristine shape can shatter pricing records. Mythical status, even with solid provenance, it's practically unattainable. These coins aren't just valuable, they've become collectibles that redefine tiers. Adult briefcase, high value attracts fraud. Watch for copper plating on zinc pennies, altered small date dies, fake D mint marks, only graded, slabbed coins with clear provenance. A rare 1983 D Lincoln Penny might be lurking in your change. We reveal the shocking truth behind this elusive coin, why it's so rare, how to spot it, and where collectors are bidding like wild. Stick around, this discovery could turn your pocket change into a fortune. 1983 wasn't just another year for pennies. It was the second year after the mint fully switched from solid bronze, 95% copper, to copper-plated zinc, weighing 2.5 g, numismaticnews.net. This change brought mass production, nearly 14.2 billion pennies minted across, yet, hidden in that deluge, were a few misstruck bronze pennies from leftover pre-transition planchets. Most stunning, the ones from Denver, 1983 D copper Lincoln pennies. What makes the 1983 D copper penny a holy grail? Leftover bronze blanks should have been retired, but a few stranded in the conveyor and were still fed into presses, which produced bronze pennies in 1983, long after the official switch. Only a few specimens are documented, one from Stack's Bowers, another via Great Collections, plus reports suggesting a handful more. A 1983 bronze Lincoln cent at Great Collections sold for $26,000. Earlier, the 1983 D sold for $17,625. Experts now estimate high-grade 1983 D copper errors could hit $80,000 to $150,000, maybe even $200,000 plus. How to identify a real 1983 D copper penny? Bronze coin is almost equal to 3.11 G. Zinc coin is almost equal to 2.5 G. Use a precision scale, one that does not round. Look for the D mint mark consistent with 1983 Denver pennies. Copper alloy yields warm red-brown hues versus the paler zinc. It should ring when dropped, and the color won't flake. The known examples are mint state, MS65, bronze red. Any high-grade find, especially MS65 Plus, could be worth well over 6 figures. If it checks out, submit to PCGS or NGC. Only graded, encapsulated specimens fetch top dollar. Let's follow the $1 million breadcrumbs. 2017, 1,983 bronze cent sells for approximately $17,625. 2024, finest known MS65 RB sells for $26,000 at Great Collections. Today, experts anticipate high-grade 1983 D copper pennies could fetch $80,000 to $150,000, with some speculating $200,000 plus, especially if a top-tier specimen emerges. Contemporary stories hype these coins as possibly the rarest modern copper penny ever. What if I told you that one tiny penny, just 1 cent, could make you a fortune? The legendary 1969 double die obverse error penny. This little coin has turned ordinary pocket change into treasure. Could you have one sitting in your drawer right now? Stay tuned, because today we uncover its wild history, how to spot the ultra-rare error, and why collectors will do almost anything to own it. Before we dive into what makes the 1969 penny so rare and valuable, we need to understand the time it was born. It's 1969. America is deep in transformation. The Vietnam War is raging, Neil Armstrong just walked on the moon, and back on Earth, the U.S. Mint is producing billions of coins. The Lincoln Memorial Penny, introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, was now the standard 1-cent coin. These pennies were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But something went wrong at the San Francisco Mint. Somewhere in the minting process, a critical and extremely rare mistake occurred, one that would eventually produce a very limited batch of 1969 pennies with a doubled die obverse, one of the most dramatic doubling errors in all of numismatics. Because only fewer than 100 examples of this coin are believed to exist, demand has exploded. It's not just a penny, it's a numismatic legend. Here are some jaw-dropping sales. White heavy checkmark in 2007, a PCG SMS 64 red 1969 S double die sold for $126,500 at auction. White heavy checkmark in 2010, another sold for $85,000. White heavy checkmark even in lower grades, like 55 Australian dollars or XF40, these coins can sell for $30,000 to $50,000. Yes, that means if you found one of these in your pocket change today, it could be worth more than a brand new Tesla or the down payment on a house. What makes it even more valuable is that the Secret Service once tried to confiscate them, believing them to be counterfeits. That added mystery and intrigue, making them even more sought after. Because of the coin's value, there are many fakes out there. So if you think you have one, here's what to do: look at the mint mark. The true doubled die has a clear, separate, S mint mark that's not doubled. Check the doubling. It should be bold and clean, not flat or fuzzy. Compare to known examples from PCGS, NGC, or Heritage auctions. Send it in for grading to PCGS or NGC for authentication and encapsulation. One rare error coin from 1983 has stunned collectors and auction houses alike, and if you know what to look for, you could be holding a literal fortune in the palm of your hand. I'm talking about the legendary 1983 copper Lincoln Penny error, a coin that was never supposed to exist. Stay with me until the end of this video, and I'll show you how to spot this rare treasure. Before we jump into the high dollar error, let's set the stage. In 1983, the Lincoln Memorial Cent was already a familiar face in American currency. But just 1 year earlier, in 1982, the U.S. Mint had made a critical change in how pennies were made, a change that would lead directly to one of the most valuable coin errors in modern history. From 1983 onward, all pennies were supposed to be zinc with a copper coating. Pure copper cents were no longer in official production. But here's the twist. The rare error: what makes the 1983 penny so special? Despite the switch to copper-plated zinc, somehow, mysteriously and accidentally, a small handful of 1983 Lincoln pennies were struck on leftover copper planchets from 1982. This was not intentional, and it wasn't noticed immediately. Only years later did collectors realize something was off when they weighed these strange 1983 coins and noticed they were heavier than they should be. Backhand index pointing right: a normal 1983 penny should weigh about 2.5 grams if it's made from zinc. But these rare error coins, they weigh 3.1 grams, the exact weight of a solid copper penny from the pre-1983 era. This simple but powerful difference, the wrong metal used in the right year, makes these coins extremely rare, highly sought after, and incredibly valuable. Money bag. Let's talk about money. Just how valuable is this little copper mistake? One verified 1983 copper penny sold at auction in 2013 for over $23,500. Another example, confirmed with professional grading in solid provenance, fetched more than $50,000 at auction. As awareness and demand have grown, these coins have only skyrocketed in value. But it doesn't stop there. Depending on the condition, especially if you have a mint state, MS, specimen or an example with a proof-like strike, this error penny could fetch $75,000, $100,000, or even $120,000 in today's red-hot market. This isn't hype. These are real prices paid by collectors and dealers who understand the extreme rarity of this coin. It's one of the most valuable modern Lincoln penny errors ever discovered. Magnifying glass tilted left: how to identify the 1983 copper penny. Here's the part you've been waiting for: how to find out if you own one. Look for a 1983 Lincoln penny. Any mint mark is fine. These errors have shown up with and without mint marks. What if I told you that a single penny? We're diving into one of the most controversial and mysterious coins in American history, the 1959 Weedback Lincoln Cent error. This is not just any error, it's the kind of coin that stuns collectors, fuels conspiracy theories, and breaks records at auctions. The story begins in 1959, a year of transition for the Lincoln penny. For 50 years, the reverse of the Lincoln cent featured the classic wheat ears design, first introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. By law and all official records, number 1959 Weedback pennies were ever minted. And that is why when one such coin surfaced, it shook the entire numismatic world to its core. In 2002, one specimen of the 1959 D wheat cent sold for a staggering $48,300 at Superior Gallery's auction. And that was more than 2 decades ago. Today, experts believe the value of such a coin, especially in pristine condition, could easily reach between $50,000 to $80,000 in AU to MS grades. $100,000 plus in top mint state condition. And in rare cases, up to $130,000 or more depending on collector demand and media attention. That's right, one single penny could be worth more than a brand new luxury car or even a house in some parts of the US. A rare 1981 Lincoln penny with a mint error so elusive, so valuable, that it's become a legend in the world of numismatics. Today, we're uncovering the shocking truth behind this incredible coin, how to identify it, why it's so rare. It's 1981. Ronald Reagan is stepping into office. MTV is preparing to launch. The American economy is battling inflation, and the US Mint is hard at work producing billions of coins. The Lincoln Memorial Cent, introduced in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday, had been around for over 2 decades by then. The design featured Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But beneath the surface of those billions of cents minted in 1981, something extraordinary happened. In 1982, the US Mint changed the composition of the Lincoln penny. From 1909 to 1982, pennies were mostly 95% copper, weighing 3.11 grams. But in 1982, due to rising copper prices, the mint switched to zinc-coated copper, weighing just 2.5 grams. However, in late 1981 and early 1982, there was a transition, and that's when rare errors were born. Some 1981 pennies, intended to be struck on copper blanks, were mistakenly struck on zinc planchets, which weren't officially in use until 1982. This is what we call a transitional planchet error, and it is extremely rare. White heavy checkmark in 1981 Lincoln cent struck on a zinc planchet, instead of copper, can fetch $20,000 to $50,000 or more at auction, depending on its condition and confirmation by grading authorities. But that's not the only 1981 error that's turning heads. Detective, you might be wondering, do these coins actually sell for big money? Let's look at a few examples. In 2021, a certified 1981 transitional planchet error sold for $31,000 at auction. A double die variety, verified by PCGS, sold for $12,000, despite some wear. High-grade 1981 error pennies, especially MS66 or higher, have been known to attract bidding wars, pushing values close to $50,000. Remember, coins like these are not easy to find, but the reward is massive if you do. Warning, handle it carefully, use gloves, never clean it. Weigh it to check for a planchet error, use magnification to check for doubling. Send it to a grading service, PCGS or NGC. Get it appraised by a professional coin dealer. Let's review why the 1981 error Lincoln cent is a collector's dream. White heavy checkmark transitional planchet errors bridge the historic 1981 to 1982 metal shift. White heavy checkmark rarity due to limited minting and discovery. White heavy checkmark high demand from copper versus zinc penny collectors. White heavy checkmark auction prices exceeding $50,000. White heavy checkmark visually verifiable and historically significant.